Man, I just really couldn't sleep last night.
Why couldn't you sleep?
I just kept thinking of the terrible things we do to animals in the animal farming industry.
What kind of things are you thinking about?
In the industrial setting, we just keep them in cages just terribly. And, even for other industries like dairy farming, we just take the calves immediately away from the cow and kill it. And for eggs, we just throw the chickens into a macerator because the males have no use in egg production, and it's just, we don't even dignify them by treating them like animals anymore.
Yeah, I also couldn't sleep last night.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I was thinking about animals, but in a slightly different way. I was thinking about the environmental impacts of their farming.
Yeah?
Yeah. So one of the few things was that so the CO2 emissions caused by livestock, especially beef, are exceptionally bad at this, is just huge. About 1/5 of total greenhouse gas emissions is caused by livestock farming.
Oh, wow.
And beef cause, as well as CO2 emissions, they cause methane because they produce methane. And methane is a really potent greenhouse gas. Methane is 23 times as bad as CO2 on like a pound per pound basis.
Wow.
Over the course of 100 years. And 44% of the methane in the U.S. is produced by cows.
That would
Totaling-
really reduce our greenhouse emissions on our fleetless
It
animals.
totals around 160 million metric tons of CO2 equivalents every year. So there's a ton of CO2 emissions, both directly and indirectly, from meat production.
It's also amazing just how much water we waste in the meat-producing industries. So I was looking at it, and we use half of the water that we use in America is in animal agriculture. And it takes 2,000 gallons of water to produce a single pound of beef.
Really?
Yeah, and when you look at that, when you compare that to different vegetables and fruits like apples and potatoes, we're talking about for every pound of beef, we could have dozens and dozens of pounds of apples and bananas and carrots and potatoes, and it's just a lot more sustainable way, it seems.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was also thinking about the land use impact of animal agriculture, because about half of all land in the U.S. is used just for agriculture for the animals, whether it's actually like pasture land itself or growing grain for animals. And there's also the huge amount of deforestation that happens. Not as much in the U.S., but like in other countries, like in Brazil, like almost 4/5 of the Amazon rainforest deforestation has been caused by desire to grow more animals and raise cows, either grain for them or just the cows themselves. It's wild how we do to our environment.
It is. I know you were watching our conversation. You're now aware of the vast environmental impact animal agriculture has in our modern era. If you would like to reduce your impact on the environment, the most important thing that you can do is drastically reduce your animal consumption.
And if you can't entirely reduce your animal consumption, shift away from eating beef and move to eating more leaner meats, like chicken, because those types of meats have a less impact on the environment per calorie produced.